Comics have a long history in the horror genre, and it's still going strong today. Want proof? Just look at this group of horror comics. These aren't reviews. I haven't read them, but here's what's new in horror this week in comic book shops. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights, a part of the Kings of Horror Network. I'm ML Miller. While you might be watching this video on the Kings of Horror Network, I urge you to click over to my ML Miller Frights YouTube page and give it a like. Please share with all of your buddies. Click subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. Here's what's new in comic book shops in the genre of horror for June 2nd, 2021. Blackjack Demon #1 is from Literati Press. The story and art is by Hermes. This is a horror western where the protagonist tracks down a man who shot his paw and destroyed the family mine. Except the man might be a demon. There aren't enough western comics out there, and ones that venture into horror are even fewer, so I'm in for this one. Cold Dead War #3 is from Heavy Metal. The story is by George C. Romero, and the art is by German Ponce. The son of George A. Romero runs with the baton passed on to him and sets the zombie plague against the backdrop of post-World War II. Cold Dead War focuses on various military stories set in Romero's Dead universe. Looks pretty interesting to me. Cherry Blackbird #1 is from Scout Comics. The story and art is by Joseph Schmalke. That sure is an interesting cover color scheme this comic sports. The titular character, Cherry Blackbird, sold her soul to become a rock star, but now it's time to pay the price. But she's not ready to. So instead, she makes a deal with the devil to track down souls that have escaped hell in exchange for her own soul. Sure, it's Brimstone, but I loved Brimstone, so I'll give this one a chance. The Rise #2 is from Heavy Metal. The story is by George C. Romero, and the art is by Diego Yapur. 2 zombie books by the son of Romero this week? Sounds pretty good. The Rise is a prequel comic of Night of the Living Dead, explaining the outbreak that started Romero's Dead movie series. Heavy Metal seems like they want to prove that zombies are still a thing in horror comics. Out of Body #1 is from AfterShock. The story is by Peter Milligan, and the art is by Inaki Miranda. If Peter Milligan is writing a horror story, I'm interested. This one is a sci-fi supernatural noir with a detective using his astral body to track down the killer. Sounds like a complex mix of genres, but Milligan will be able to pull it off. Plus, Inaki Miranda brings this future tale to life with vivid artwork. The Conjuring, The Lover #1 is from DC Comics. The story is by Scott Snyder, Rex Ogle, and David L. Johnson-McGoldrick. And the art is by Dave Johnson, Dennis Cowan, and Garry Brown. This one ties in with the release of the new Conjuring movie. I'm a sucker for these films, even the bad ones, like Annabelle. Not only does the book sport a story by Conjuring screenwriters David L. Johnson-McGoldrick and Rex Ogle, but it's also got another story by comic sensation Scott Snyder. That's a lot of talent in one book. Basilisk #1 from Boom Studios has a story by Cullen Bunn and the art by Jonas Scharf. A cult hive mind with super senses track down one of their own who has horrific powers involving sight. It's senses-based horror from the prolific Cullen Bunn, and I love that Jonas Scharf art too, so this will be a good one. Bunn's on a roll right now with his horror comics. Finally, we have Nice House on the Lake, Book 1. It's from DC's Black Label. The story is by James Tynion III, and the art is by Alvaro Martinez Bueno. Tynion is one of the hottest writers out there right now, and this is the book that is going to kick off a new horror push at DC. The story is about a weird guy named Walter who invites acquaintances and friends he has met through his life to a house by the lake. And though none of the invitees particularly like Walter, they can't say no to a free vacation. Looks like they should have said no, as Walter has ill intent for his guests. I'm in. Tynion can do no wrong right now, and this seems to be another example of his solid horror storytelling skills. What do you guys think? Do any of these books look interesting to you? Which ones? And what horror comics did you read growing up? Let me know in the comments below. That'll be it for today. Please chime in down below in the comments and let me know how on the nose or mind-numbingly wrong I am. or you can counter with your own review. So guys, you know how YouTube works. I'd love to be able to dedicate more time to this channel. I'm not monetized yet, so if you want to help me out, remember to hit all the pertinent bells and whistles down below. Want some spooky comics to read? I have 2 new horror comic book trade paperbacks you should look out for. Both Grave Trancers and Pirouette, collecting never-before-published issues, can be found in only the finest of comic book shops. If you're looking for written reviews, you can find them on my website, mlmillerwrites.com. If you really want to show your support, I also have a Patreon page at mlmiller. Look for the link to my Patreon page down below. Thank you so much for your time, and take care.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're doomed. Oh, you're doomed. You're doomed. God live the life that you are meant to be. Live inside.